Oh, hi, everybody. Hello, hi. Come on in, have a seat. Look, I'm so glad we're all here together. I appreciate that. My name is Josh. I work on the Spring team. I'm a Spring developer advocate, Java champion, Kotlin Google developer expert, and a Microsoft MVP. That last one, very confusing and surprising to me as well, but anyway, yeah. And look, we all do things that we're not proud of. I am a YouTuber, so if you want to join me on YouTube, you can, it's an okay channel. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's okay. There's a LinkedIn, there's Twitter, and code, okay? So you can follow along later on when and if you have questions. But the code is useful, and the Twitter is useful because it'll help you contextualize what we do here right now. It's good to remember what we do here right now. And what I've done here in this wonderful, wonderful city, I like to have memories of that. I have been here before. I've been here a few times before. Here's a photo I took with Jean-Claude Van Damme back in 2011 here in Sofia. And you can see I'm wearing a Spring shirt, and there he is, right there, right? And this is from 2011. And so there's some things that are very interesting about this. First of all, you saw the date. Look how nice that photo is. And you can see what it says up there in the text, right? It says Happy Village Tavern, which I think is very interesting. You have to be happy when you are there. That's a fact, okay? It's the law. And so I am happy because I've had rakia, okay? Rakia makes you happy. But this guy, not happy, okay? This is the bodyguard. I think he's got bad ideas, and so he's not happy. So anyway, that was 2011, and every single time I've come here, I've had a great time, right? And it's not just because of Rakia, it's because of this wonderful, wonderful community. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to talk about the latest and the greatest of the stuff that we're working on in the wonderful world of Spring. And I have so much I want to show you. I want to show you some of the stuff we're working on in Spring AI. How many of you have built anything with AI? I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us in the Java community, because right now, most of the business logic, most of the services, most of the data that people build in the world is in Java and Spring. And it's very natural to extend all of that to have integrations with AI. And I think that would be a really easy way to get more success. There was a study from MIT just a few months ago, and that study said that something like 90% of all AI projects fail. Why, right? And I think I know why. I think I understand why. What they're trying to do is to take the domain, the business logic, the institutional knowledge that they have built up over many years in Java and in Spring, and they're trying to translate it into Python to build these AI integrations. This is a terrible idea. No wonder it's going to fail, right? Because you have to rebuild all this. Why? Why bother doing this? Instead, just build it in the JVM. The JVM is faster, it's more secure, it's more performant. It's just a much better place to build these kinds of services and solutions. So what I want to show you today is something that takes advantage of this project called Spring AI, which it went GA, it went public, it went final version for 1.0 back in May of this year, okay? Spring AI is really, really powerful. Now, what are we going to build? That's the other question, right? We can't just build nothing. We have to have an idea. We have to have something that we can think about. So what I want to do is I want to build something that is relatable. And if you know much about Spring, then you know about the Spring Pet Clinic, right? The Spring Pet Clinic is a sample application from many years ago, right? But it still gets updated. You can see it was updated here 2 days ago. There's even a whole Spring Pet Clinic GitHub organization with many different repositories, right? So these repositories show different implementations of the pet clinic, and they're all about animals, dogs, cats, these kinds of things. Who has a pet? Okay, good. And the rest of you, probably the pet has you, right? It's the other way around, right? Either way, I love dogs, I love cats, I love almost all of them, okay? Almost all of them, not all of them. My dog is terrible. the worst dog. I have a dog. His name is Peanut. Peanut is the worst. He's not a good dog, a bad boy, not a good dog. But we keep him for three simple reasons. One is even terrible, terrible dogs deserve love, okay? So we give him love, and he's a good, we love him, but we just don't like him, There's a difference there, right? He's family, but he's evil, you know what I'm saying? And so that's one. Two is ego, okay? In my home, I have my partner, and we have our daughter, and both of them speak 5 languages. I only speak 3.5. So if we did not have the stupid dog, then I would be the stupidest. We cannot have this. So we keep the dog for this reason. And then finally, just being very honest with you here, he is very, very cute, right? I know, so cute, so cute, but evil. Okay, pure evil, not a good dog, malevolent, right? Oh yeah, all right. Come on, do the thing. All right, thank you. Pure evil dog, not a good dog. And so I think about my evil dog a lot. I learned about another evil dog many years ago during the COVID pandemic, whose name is Prancer. And Prancer, the woman that had Prancer at the time, she put this dog up for adoption back in 2021. And she described this dog very, very funny, very, very funny. She says, I have tried for the last several months to post this dog for adoption and make him sound palatable. The problem is he's just not. There's not a very big market for neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dogs that look like gremlins, right? So who says these things about a dog? It's slander, it's doggy slander. And she says, I have to believe there's someone out there for Prancer because I'm tired, and so is my family. Every day we live in the grips of the demonic Chihuahua hellscape that he has created in our home. She continues, he was quiet and just laid on the couch. He did not bother anyone. I was excited to see him come out of his shell and become a real dog. I'm convinced at this point that he's not a real dog, but more like a vessel for a traumatized Victorian child that now haunts our home. What? This dog, poor dog. I feel bad. But she continues, we already addressed the men and children situation. If you have people over, he would have to be put away like he's a vacuum. I know finding someone who wants a Chucky doll in a dog's body is hard, but I have to try. And then she signs off and she says, he's only 2 years old and will probably live to be 21 through pure spite. So take that into account, right? So it doesn't sound like a fun dog, but still also very cute. I would totally pet this dog. I would pet that dog. I might lose a finger, but I would pet that dog. I can see why, So I think about these terrible dogs a lot. My terrible dog, Peanut, and this terrible dog, Prancer. And I want to build something to help adopt them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to my second favorite place on the internet, start.spring.io. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a new service, and we're going to call this Assistant, okay? And we have some selections that we have to make. What version of Java do you want to use? We have 3 choices, but only one valid choice, okay? Java 25 is the current version of Java. These other choices, we only keep them here so that we can know who makes terrible, terrible life decisions, okay? You should never, ever select these versions. These are completely old and long since irrelevant. So we have Java 25. By the way, Java 25 has one of my favorite features. Look at this. It's finally happened, okay? The unthinkable has happened. I'm going to create watch this. I'm going to open this up. Okay, and I'll say void main, okay, and I'll say io.println, hi, okay, hi, I don't know, hello, world, okay, like that, and then run this, and I'm going to say javascript.java, okay, and there you go. There's my script written in Java, right? You know what that is? This is the first good JavaScript, right? It's never happened before. It's never happened. This is it. Finally, after 30 years. I'm so excited, right? And it gets better. You can actually fix this. So if I go over here, script.java, and then I go over here and I say, I want to go back over here, and I'm going to give it this. I'll say user bin env s java source 25, okay? And I'll just move this to another, I'll just say hi, and I'll say hi, and then hi, right? And now I've got an executable JavaScript, the first and only good kind of JavaScript, okay? Again, an amazing time. So Java 25 is amazing for this and for other reasons. Okay, so I'm going to use Java 25, and we need some GraalVM native image support. We need the web support. We need to do vector store, right? I'm going to use PG vector store. I'm going to be using Spring Data JDBC to talk to the database. I'm going to use the web server support. I've got that. I've got data JDBC. I've got that. I need chat memory, right? And I need a AI model, and Spring AI supports dozens of different AI models. I'll use OpenAI. You can use Ollama. You can use Gemini. You can use, dozens. There's like 20 or more different models, right? So I'll use that. And I think, we also have the vector store. We've got this. You know what else we want? MCP client support. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Let's hit generate. And I'm going to open this up, and I have an alias here. That's an alias to, yes, another JavaScript, right? So I'm going to use this JavaScript to open this zip file that I have here. So UAO assistant.zip. That'll run unzip, and it'll cd into the directory, and it'll open up my IDE for me, okay? Again, JavaScript, very nice. So I have a database already running in my local machine. Can you see this font all the way in the back there? Okay, good. So Spring data source password is secret. Don't tell anybody that, okay? It's our secret. My user, and then the URL is jdbc:/PostgreSQL localhost my database, okay? Let's try this out. I'll click on that. Hit test connection, hit apply, hit OK, go over here, refresh, right, hit that, go there, tables, there, okay? So all I've got right now, let's drop these two things right here, object actions, drop, okay? I'm going to just say drop, if exists, who cares, go, go, go. And now I've only got this one table called dog. And you can see that this table, here's our buddy Prancer, right? His ID is 45, his name is Prancer, and he's described as a demonic, neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dog that looks like a gremlin, okay? So we want to support adopting this terrible, terrible dog. So what we shall do is build a service to help people find the dogs of their dreams or nightmares at this dog adoption shelter called Pooch Palace, okay? Pooch Palace. Here we are, okay? Let me make that font a little bit bigger. There we go. So class assistant controller, and it'll be at controller, at response body. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the Spring Framework chat client, okay? This chat client is your one-stop shop for all your AI needs. Now this code is really good. It's really good. It was written by the smartest people, okay? Only the best people worked on this code, okay? And by the way, he's Bulgarian, by the way. The second founder of the Spring AI project is Christian Solov. Anyway, so there's this. We will now create a simple endpoint to answer questions about the dogs that are in the shelter, okay? So string question, and we'll respond with a response from the AI model. We'll send a user prompt. That's the question here. We're going to make a call, and we'll get the contents back as a string, okay? Now, I have OpenAI configured. I have to specify an OpenAI key, right? But I've already done this before I got on the stage, I set up an environment variable like this, and so that is being used. But I have to specify an OpenAI key, so do you. Okay, let's try it out. Let's just make sure everything is working. 8080/ask question equals, my name is Josh, okay? Let's see if that works, right? Hopefully everything's going to be just fine. Look, nice to meet you, Josh. We're friends, right? We're connected. It's going so well. Let's try this out. What do you think? Let's just see, trust but verify, right? So let's see, what's my name? It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, it's okay. Hey, I'm sorry, but I don't have your information. Why? You see, this happens to me a lot. I talk to people, and then they immediately forget me. Why? I don't know what happened here. But what's happening, this is an API. It is stateless, so we have to give it memory. We have to tell it what has happened. So we need to take note of every single request that's been sent to the AI model, write it down, store it somewhere like a database, and then send it on each request so that the model can see what we have said, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use an advisor. Advisors are filters that process, they intercept the requests going to the model. So let's do that here. I'll say prompt chat memory advisor. Here we are. And I'm going to use, there's this right over here, come on. And we're going to say prompt chat memory advisor .builder .build, okay, and then that's going to require, I don't want to send all of the messages, just the most recent build, the most recent window of messages, the most recent like 20 messages, let's say. So I need to create a message window chat memory. I'll pass that in here. And then finally, I want to store everything somewhere, so I'll create a repository. So I'll create that here, like that, and I'll pass it in to a data source, right? The SQL data source that we have running in the local machine here as well. So this goes there, this goes here, and that goes here. And now I will tell Spring AI to use that filter when we configure when we configure the client, okay? So I'm saying default advisors, chat memory advisor, reload, and then re-ask the question, right? So let's say, we have to tell it also where to store everything. I will tell it to create this chat memory table. Okay, here we go, chat memory, initialize schema as always. And now when I do that, if I go over here, can refresh, there's this new table called Spring AI Chat Memory. There's nothing in it yet. So let's say, my name is Josh. All right, here we go. Refresh, there's our first interaction. Now, what's my name? Okay, refresh again. It's got the whole conversation, right? And it knows who I am. It gave me the response. It says, your name is Josh, right? So we've given our AI model memory, but the problem is it's still just an open endpoint going straight to my OpenAI account. You can do anything with it. You can ask it for help with your history homework, right? This is not going to help adopt dogs. I want to adopt dogs, right? So what we need to do is to give it a mission. We have to tell it, hey, you're supposed to do just this one thing. And the way you do that is by giving it a system prompt. Now, I have a pre-written system prompt. I will go here, talk system prompt. And I've got that system prompt, and I'm going to, wait. No, I just realized what I did wrong. Better, okay. Now, copy and paste this, and I'm going to say var system prompt equals, paste that in, and I'll say the default system is this, okay? Now what this is doing is I'm saying you are an AI-powered assistant to help people adopt dogs from the adoption agency called Pooch Palace with locations in Antwerp, Seoul, Tokyo, Singapore, Paris, Mumbai, New Delhi, Barcelona, San Francisco, and London. Did I say Antwerp? I meant Sophia. Information about the dogs available will be presented below. If there's no information, then return a polite response suggesting that we don't have any available. Let's try it now, okay? So, do you have any neurotic dogs, okay? Let's ask. We're trying to find our buddy Prancer. Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't have any information about neurotic dogs available for adoption at Pooch Palace. That's the name of our company, right? Our dog shelter. So it's acting like an employee of our fictitious, non-existent dog adoption shelter, but it doesn't have any information. So we need to give it access to the dogs that are in the database, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take the data in the database and write it into the vector store. So let's do that here. I'm going to use Spring Data JDBC here, string owner, and string description. And I'm going to take the data from the SQL database and just synchronize it with the vector store, okay? Now I'm using Spring Data JDBC. How many of you are using Spring Data JDBC here? Oh, so good. I love Spring Data JDBC. And by the way, I also love Java Records. I love Java Records. I'm a huge fan, right? Big fan. So now let's inject that here. We'll say dog repository, and then we're going to inject the vector store, okay? Now remember, a vector store is a data store optimized for similarity search, okay? So I want to find similar things. So when the program starts up, I will go dog repository.findAll.forEach. I'm going to get the data in the dogs, and I'm going to create a new Spring AI document, and I'm going to put some regular text. It doesn't matter what text you put as long as you are consistent, okay? So I shall say dog ID, dog.name, dog.description, and then I shall say vector store.add list.of document. Okay, this looks pretty good, but there's a big problem with this. This is a document for dogs, so I shall call it a document, okay? Now, let's create a question answer advisor to tell Spring AI to consult the vector store before it answers any questions, okay? We want to send only the data that's required to answer the question and no more. So the vector store can help us do some sub-selection to pre-filter the results, okay? Did I inject that over here? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Here we go. Question answer advisor, first of all. And then we will, here, question answer advisor. And what is this issue? Oh, the table doesn't exist either. So let's do that. We need to create the SQL table for Postgres to use it as a vector store, okay? Reload. So the very first time, since I'm calling the OpenAI endpoint to create the embeddings and to write things to the vector store and all this, it takes a little while, right? But I would never do that normally. Normally you would write one record and then write to the vector store at the same time, right? So this will take a little while, let it finish. And there you go. You see it took forever this time, right? So I'm going to comment this out so that it doesn't run next time. But you can see I've got these tables here, vector store, and here's our 18 dogs, including the embedding for Prancer. And embedding is just numbers, right? So I'm going to now ask questions of our AI model. Do you have any neurotic dogs? Let's see what it tells us. Okay, yes, we do have a neurotic dog available for adoption. Meet Prancer, a demonic, neurotic dog who tends to be man-hating, animal-hating, and children-hating, right? He has a unique appearance that resembles a gremlin. So we found him. We found our dog, the dog of our dreams, or, nightmares. So what I want to do now is maybe I don't want text. Maybe I want this to be in some form that I can use with my database and other parts of my domain. So what I want to do is I'll create a dog adoption suggestion, right? So dog adoption suggestion, int ID, string name, right? For example, just as an example. And what I will do is instead of asking for a string back, I'll ask for an entity. Here we are, dog adoption.suggestion, and I'll say dog adoption suggestion, and I shall reload this. Here we go. So now I'm going to ask the same question. Take 5. Good. So you can see I got a strongly typed Java object with an int. And now I know the record, right? That's called structured output mapping. You can use that to create responses from the AI that you can then use with the rest of your code. Now, in this case, I do want the string text, but you should know it's nice and easy to do what I just did, okay? Okay, so let's go over here, .content. Now, I have found the dog. Now what, right? Now we have to adopt this dog. We have to pick and take him home, right? That's a natural next step. But we have to schedule this. So what we need to do now is integrate our AI with our business logic. Here, we integrated the AI with our data. We used a pattern called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. But I want to integrate it with our data and our business logic. So I shall create a patent-pending dog adoption scheduler, okay? This is a service. It'll be a Spring Bean, and I'll just return a point when you can come and pick up the dog, okay? So dog ID, string dog name, and I shall create the instant var instant now.plus3 days in the future, and I'll just return a toString, and I'll return that, and I'll say io.println adopting dog name, okay, and then dog ID on, and then I'll return the time, okay? Now, this is 3 days, and I need to annotate this as a tool. Now, it's very important here to be very clear about what this tool does. This is going to give our AI model agency, the ability to interact with our business services. So, schedule an appointment to pick up a dog from the Pooch Palace location, right? And I also need to annotate these parameters so that the AI model knows what's expected, the ID of the dog, right? And then same thing over here at tool param, the name of the dog, okay? Now, I've done this work, but I need to tell Spring AI that it has this tool that it can call whenever it wants to answer questions about when it can pick up a dog. So I shall inject the scheduler here, and I'll say tools, scheduler, and I'll reload. Now, let's try this again, okay? So let me delete everything from the chat memory so it doesn't cheat, okay? Goodbye to that. Do you have any neurotic dogs? Okay, great. We have an neurotic dog. Great. Now, let's see when we can pick him up. Fantastic. When can I pick up Prancer from the Sophia location? Right? Here we go. And it should be 3 days in the future. It is today, the 16th. So we expect the 19th, right? There we go. So we can see that it actually called our business logic. There's our printout confirming that it did so. So great. This is good. We've integrated our AI with our business logic and our data. We're already way further ahead than we were just 10, 15 minutes ago. But there is a problem here, right? This is a problem I confess I never even heard of. I never even thought about this. Years ago, do you remember years ago, the scientists were trying to solve the possibility of the Higgs boson particle. Do you remember this? In CERN, in Geneva, like in 2012. And the scientists, they knew it was possible that this particle existed, but they didn't know where. They didn't know how to prove it, right? And so it was a scientific possibility, but they could not prove it. I think the same way about this idea here, which is, what if there's some other language besides Java and Spring? We haven't seen that useful yet. Nobody's building anything interesting in that as far as I'm able to tell. But in theory, it's possible, right? And if that's the case, then how are they going to use this amazing dog adoption scheduler service that I wrote here, right? How are they going to repurpose this? How are they going to reuse this? What we need to do is to extract that out into a service that they can call. Now, I want my AI model to be able to talk to this business logic. So back in November of last year, do you remember November? I don't. It's been too long. It's been too long. But back in November last year, Anthropic created a new specification called MCP, Model Context Protocol. This specification is a great way to export resources, prompts, tools, etc. for your AI models. And we on the Spring AI team were we built a Java SDK in the weeks after the announcement of the specification. So when you use the MCP SDK today, you're using our code. The official Java SDK is the code that we wrote. We donated it to the MCP effort. So we have a very good integration. Now, I will tell you that this was not easy to do, okay? It took a lot of hard work to make this happen. So here is Christian Soloff, the co-lead of Spring AI before MCP, right? And this is him after, right? The MCP was a very stressful effort. Very stressful. But nonetheless, we have done it, okay? So now we have this. Let's go ahead and build an MCP service, okay? What we're going to do is go back to start.spring.io. Here we go. And we're going to build a new service. We're going to call this scheduler, okay? And I'll add the Model Context Protocol server support and the web support. I'll hit generate. And I'll just say UAO scheduler.zip. Here we are. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do something terrible, something that you should never, ever do, ever. Not even when you are by yourself at home and no one is watching. I am going to copy and paste code, okay? So here we go, and paste. Ooh. Okay, so there's that. Oh, forgot the extra parenthesis. Here we go. Get rid of that. And I'm going to now create a method tool callback provider, and I'll export this logic to as a MCP service, okay? And there's my tool, and I'll inject that here. Dog adoption scheduler and scheduler, okay? So now it's going to run on port 8081, and it's going to be an MCP service. Now I'm going to refactor this client, and I'm going to use the new service that we built using MCP, okay? So I'll go over here, MCP client, and I'll say MCP client.sync, HTTP client transport dot builder, HTTP localhost 8081 dot build, okay? var MCP, return MCP. Now, we have MCP.initialize, and I'm going to inject this client and use that here instead of the actual local scheduler object, because that doesn't exist anymore, does it, right? We've moved it to a separate service. So I'll call back, new sync, and then pass that in there, okay? So everything else is basically the same. Now we do the same exact thing. Let me delete the data from the chat memory so it doesn't cheat and look at the answers, right? Here we go, okay? Do you have any neurotic dogs? Okay, good. Now, when can we pick up that dog? So if this is working, it'll go to, there you go, October 19th, right? And we can see that it called our service in the MCP scheduler service, okay? So now we've built an MCP client and an MCP service, integrated them, and we've got them up and running, and I think it's now time to think about getting this amazing code into production, right? This is the difference between Java and so much of the other languages out there, is that Java is observable, it's secure, it's scalable, it's fast, it's production worthy, right? We have tools to make this stuff really, really resilient. So what I want to do is, first of all, for example, I want to make this use virtual threads. How many of you know about virtual threads in Java, right? How many of you know about async await in the other JavaScript, the bad kind, right? Yeah, async await is a nightmare. It's a bunch of code that you have to add to your code to get non-blocking I/O. But it requires you to refactor everything. Your whole code base ends up littered with this noise, right? In Java, we don't have this problem. We have a nice feature called virtual threads. And if you want to enable it, you just do that, okay? So this is much better. Now, whenever I do I/O on the internet with a network socket, if it blocks, this will automatically not block. It'll put it back in the socket and wait and give you the thread back, so you can actually scale just like you would with Go or Node or whatever, but don't have to refactor your code all like that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make my code fast, right? And remember, Java is super, super fast, right? This is much faster than people appreciate. It's also very efficient, right? So here's a study that the Portuguese did back in 2018 before COVID, okay? Before COVID, or BC, right? So here's May 20th, 2018, and the study asks what programming languages use the most electricity, right? And you can see that C is the number one. It uses the least electricity, so it's very good for machines, not for people, right? You've got Rust, very good, zero cost abstractions, well done. C++, tooey, disgusting. Ada, who cares? And then Java, okay? Java, let's say that's 2.0, okay? So that's pretty good. Top 5 most energy efficient languages. You want to know where Python is? There. Okay? Not good. So Java, already very good, but I also want my code to be fast. This is why it's important to look at something like this. This is the 1BRC challenge. This is a test to write a program that loads 13 gigabytes of text and does statistics on it instantaneously, as quickly as possible, using only the JDK. Well, how long do you think it takes to do this? 13 gigs of text. The fastest entries are 1.5 seconds. So you go down here. Here you go. Look at that. 1.5 seconds. You hit enter, run, load all the data, do the statistics, and then exit. That takes 1.5 seconds. And there's a lot of them that are 1.5 seconds. And most of them use GraalVM. I love GraalVM. GraalVM is an AOT ahead of time compiler. But the problem with it is that it takes a little while to compile. So what I like to do is to have elevator music. When I do the compilation, I like to have music that plays. And there's a nice plugin here, right? There's a nice plugin that a friend of the community created for us. So we will plug that into our build over here. And we'll add this to the bottom of the build. Here we are. Okay. Paste that in there. We'll use version 2.0. Okay, here we go. And I also need to add the GraalVM native image plugin as well. Where's that? Start.spring.io. Come on, internet. Hello, internet. I think I did it for the other one. We can just copy and paste from here. I hate copying and pasting, but it's what we're doing. Here we go. So we go over here, paste that in there. Okay, so I've got 2 plugins, and now I will compile this into a native image, and we'll let the work happen. It takes a long time to do this native image compilation, but the results are very, very impressive. So we'll kick that compilation off. Here we go. My favorite part. Wait for it. Okay, good. So now we've got a native image, right? So if you go to the target directory, here, cd target, you've got a native binary that's like C code. It's like Rust. It's like C. There's no JVM involved anymore. The entire binary, everything that you need in the class path, and nothing extra, just the stuff that's required. So the JDK and your class path, but only the required stuff, is here. It's in this binary. It's 78 megs of RAM. So let's start it up. Okay. Oh, the port is already in use. Okay, let's stop this. Go over here. Okay. There you go. So that started up in 33 milliseconds. Okay. So I don't know how fast your program starts up, but I guarantee you it's not that fast. And most importantly, you go over here. Here's the Java process identifier, right? Process identifier. I'll go over here. I'm going to measure the RAM in kilobytes. So you divide by 1,000. So 77,000 divided by 1,000 is 77 megabytes of RAM. Okay. Now, again, compare this to, look at this. By the way, notice that I use Safari. You know why? Because Google Chrome is garbage. Here we go. Open this up. Ready, steady. I'm going to open this web page. Here we go. Loading. Wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. JavaScript, by the way, the bad kind. Hold. Waiting for it. Let me just refresh. Maybe that'll go faster. Good thing we got 30 seconds left. Whew. Did it load? There you go. 794 megs of RAM for one stupid JavaScript page. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Literally 14 times less performant and more RAM than my AI service that you can scale, that you can run, you can observe, you can do security with, etc. We live in an amazing time, my friends. There's never been a better time to be a Java and Spring developer. The technologies that we have available to us are incredible. You can do anything today, and now I have 2 terrible dogs. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Amazing, Josh. Very good talk. I'm a dog owner. I liked about the presentation, but are there any questions in the room to Josh?
Oh yeah, I have a question. Who learned something new? Who had fun? All right, good stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Josh.
Cheers.